You ever spend years clawing your way toward a life your parents never believed you could have, only for them to show up at the finish line with their hands out? Because that's exactly what happened to me. My parents ignored my graduation. They skipped the proudest day of my life. But then they had the audacity to demand I start paying their taxes and mortgage. And when I said no, they tried to destroy my life, legally, financially, and emotionally. But it didn't end the way they expected. I grew up in a house where love meant, "What have you done for me lately?" From as far back as I can remember, my parents treated me like the family workhorse. Need groceries? Send me. Need the little ones watched? Me again. Need emotional support? Guess who sat through my mother's nightly wine-fueled monologues about how no one appreciates a mother? But when I needed anything, even something small like a ride home, suddenly everyone was busy. So when I walked across that university stage, diploma in hand, I wasn't expecting balloons or flowers or a banner. I wasn't even expecting cheering. But I did expect someone from my family to show up. Anyone. The ceremony was outdoors that year. Bright blue sky, big white tent, rows of folding chairs, a breeze warm enough to be comforting but cool enough to keep us awake as speeches droned on. I kept scanning the crowd. Maybe they're running late. Maybe they parked far. Maybe they're standing somewhere I can't see. Every time I adjusted my cap, I checked again. Nothing. When my name was called, Alex Carter, I walked the stage smiling because the cameras were pointed at us, but my chest was hollow. I got my degree, I shook hands, I posed for photos alone. When it was over, while everyone around me hugged parents and siblings and partners, I sat on a bench by myself, the creaking sound of others' celebrations echoing in my ears. I checked my phone. No messages. Not even a congratulations. I stayed seated until the campus staff started folding up chairs and sweeping confetti off the grass. That's when my phone finally buzzed. "Mom, what time will you be home? Need help moving boxes from garage." No, "Did you take pictures?" No, "We're proud of you." Just a request for labor. That was the moment something inside me clicked. A little crack, small but sharp. I replied, "Me. Graduation was today." A minute passed. 2, 3. Then, "Mom, oh, I forgot. We're out right now. Can you pick up milk?" Milk. My chest felt like it caved in. I closed the message, drove home, and said nothing. Because what was there to say? 2 days after graduation, I was sitting in my childhood bedroom packing my things. A new job offer was waiting for me in another city. A decent starting salary, open office, benefits, the kind of adult life I'd been dreaming about since I was 12. My plan was simple: move out, start fresh, never come back. But my parents had plans of their own. Dad knocked once, then entered without waiting. Classic him. "Alex," he said, arms crossed in the doorway. Okay. "Well," he cleared his throat, "you're an adult now, and you have a degree, so it's time you start contributing to the household." I blinked. "I'm literally moving out next week." "We know," he said, "but that doesn't mean you can't help us financially." Mom appeared behind him like some kind of stage-left villain cue. She added, "We've supported you for 22 years. It's only fair you pay us back." "For what? For raising you?" My brain stuttered. "You want me to pay you back for being my parents?" Dad shifted. "Look, your salary is going to be good. Ours isn't great. We need help with the mortgage, the utilities, and the property taxes." "How much are you talking?" Mom said it casually, like she wasn't insane. "About $2,000 a month." I laughed out loud. I couldn't help it. That was nearly half my income. "You're joking, right?" "We wouldn't joke about something like this," she said. "Family supports family." I stared at them. "You didn't even come to my graduation." Dad's face hardened. "Don't bring that up again. We were busy." "Doing what?" Mom hesitated. "Your sister's cheer practice ran late." That was it. They skipped one of the biggest milestones of my life for cheer practice. I took a breath. I'm not paying your bills. Mom stepped forward. Alex, think carefully. We need this. No, I said. I'm sorry if things are tight, but I'm not financing your lifestyle. Mom's expression twisted into something I'd never seen before. A mix of anger, disbelief, and entitlement sharpened into a blade. So that's how it is, she whispered. You think you're better than us now. That's not what She cut me off, voice rising. After everything we sacrificed, you're just going to abandon us? I said quietly. You didn't sacrifice for me. You tolerated me. Her breath hitched. Get out of my house. Dad's arms bulged as he pointed toward the hallway. I walked out before they could say anything else, but I wasn't fast enough. Mom shouted after me, You'll regret this. You're not walking out on family. 2 days later, I came home from my final shift at my college job to find the front door dead-bolted. I tried my key. It didn't fit. I tried again and again, thinking maybe I was tired or holding it wrong. Nope, replaced. My stomach dropped. I knocked. No answer. I called. Straight to voicemail. My first thought was panic. All my things were inside. My laptop, my work files, my documents, my clothes, everything. I walked around to the back. The sliding door was locked. The windows shut. I dialed again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Finally, I got a text from Mom. Since you don't want to contribute to the household, you don't get to freeload office anymore. You can pick up your things when you agree to help with bills. I stared at my phone in disbelief. They were holding my belongings hostage? I texted back. That's illegal. Give me my stuff. No reply. Fine. I wasn't playing this game. I stepped off their porch, pulled out my phone, and dialed 911. Not dramatic. Necessary. When the police arrived, my parents acted shocked, offended, and deeply wounded. Mom even produced tears on command. Officer, he claimed, he attacked us verbally. A wellness check might be appropriate, Dad added. He's unstable. I blinked. I literally just want my suitcase. The officers separated us and had a calm discussion. Luckily, the cops were reasonable and saw what was going on instantly. One of them told my parents, You legally can't keep his property. Let him get it. Mom's eyes narrowed at me with a hatred that felt disproportionate for a suitcase. They let me grab essentials, but made sure to hover over every move like prison guards. I left that night with 2 bags and a whole new understanding. My parents weren't just inconsiderate, they were dangerous. I moved to my new city, started my new job, and for the first time in my life, felt the air clear around me. My coworkers were kind. My boss encouraged me. I had my own apartment, my own space, my own life. But escape didn't mean peace. My parents called constantly. Sometimes it was guilt. You're tearing this family apart. Sometimes it was anger. You think you're too good for us? Sometimes it was desperation. We need you to wire money before the 15th. Sometimes it was manipulation. Your sister's upset. You're selfish. I ignored most of it. Eventually, they stopped calling. For a while, it was blissfully quiet. Then came the mail. It started with a letter from a credit card company congratulating me on my new account, except I hadn't opened one. Then another letter from a store I'd never been inside. Then a third saying thank you for your recent application. My chest tightened. Someone was using my name. I checked my credit report. My score had plummeted. 2 new credit accounts, a rejected loan application, and get this, charges from a party supply store, restaurants, a limo service, and custom decorations. What kind of event was this? Then I saw a charge description that punched me in the gut. Sweet Vision Events Sweet 16 package deposit. My sister's Sweet 16. My parents had opened credit cards in my name to finance her party. My hands shook as I scrolled through the transactions. They used my identity to buy balloons, catered food, speakers, custom invitations, LED dance floor tiles, even a freaking donut wall. I knew immediately who was responsible. Mom. She'd done something similar years ago, used my social to get cable installed under my name when theirs was shut off. Back then, I didn't understand the implications. Now, I did. Identity theft. Felony. I called her. She picked up on the first ring. "Oh, so now you answer?" she said. "Mom," I said slowly, "did you open credit cards in my name?" She didn't miss a beat. "Well, you weren't using your credit, and your sister deserves a good birthday." I nearly dropped the phone. "You committed fraud." "Don't be dramatic," she snapped. "It's all in the family." "No, it's a crime." She scoffed. "You owe us anyway." I hung up. My pulse felt like thunder. They hadn't just disrespected me, they'd tried to financially enslave me. I filed a police report. I froze the fraudulent accounts. I disputed every charge. A detective called me 2 days later. "Alex, good news. This is a clear-cut identity theft case. We already see evidence pointing toward your mother." I felt sick and vindicated at the same time. The detective asked if I wanted to press charges. I didn't decide right away. Part of me still felt like that kid in the back seat begging for peace. But then the detective said something that flipped a switch. She was planning to open a personal loan next. We intercepted the inquiry. She wasn't going to stop, not unless someone stopped her. The detective suggested meeting my parents in a neutral place to gather a statement before proceeding. So we met at a local diner back in my hometown, one of those places with red vinyl booths and laminated menus. Mom arrived in full victim mode, puffy eyes, trembling voice. Dad followed, arms crossed like he was preparing for battle. My sister stayed home. Maybe she knew something heavy was coming. The detective sat with us, but didn't intervene unless needed. Mom opened with, "Alex, why are you doing this to us?" "I didn't do anything," I said. "You committed fraud." She shook her head violently. "It wasn't fraud, it was borrowing." "Without my permission," I said. Dad slammed his hand on the table. People turned to look. "You ungrateful brat. We raised you, fed you, gave you a roof. And now you want to milk me dry," I said. "I worked for years to build my future, and you tried to destroy it for a birthday party." Mom's voice cracked. "Your sister deserves a special day." "At my expense?" "It's just money." The detective cleared his throat. "Ma'am, identity theft is a serious offense." She rolled her eyes. "It's not theft if it's family." The detective turned to me. "Do you want to continue with charges?" Mom froze. Dad froze. I looked at them, really looked, at people who believed I owed them my life, at people who thought hurting me was justified, at people who would never, ever respect me. "Yes," I said, "I want to continue." Mom gasped. Dad whispered, "You'll regret this." The detective gathered paperwork. Mom tried one last time. "You're choosing strangers over your family." "No," I said quietly. "I'm choosing myself." The charges moved forward. It didn't end with jail. First-time offenders rarely see that. Instead, Mom got probation, mandatory financial counseling, required reimbursement for damages, a record. My credit was restored after months of investigations and dispute letters. My parents disowned me publicly. They told relatives I framed my mother, that I was a traitor, that success had corrupted me. But privately, they sent emails trying to negotiate, offering apologies, offering excuses, offering to forgive me. I didn't respond. I blocked everything. It took a long time to shake the guilt, even though I knew I had done nothing wrong. I kept wondering, was I too harsh? Should I have given them another chance? Did I ruin the family? But my therapist said something that stuck with me. You didn't break your family. You refused to let them break you. Slowly, I accepted that. My new life grew roots. I advanced in my job. I met people who appreciated me. I learned what healthy boundaries looked like. And the silence from my parents, once painful, became peaceful. A year later, my sister reached out, privately. Not for money, just for conversation. She told me the party had been a disaster. The credit cards declined halfway through, vendors demanded payments at the door, and Mom had a screaming meltdown in the parking lot. She told me she never wanted the party that badly anyway. Then she whispered something that broke my heart. "I'm sorry they treated you like that. I hope one day I can get out too." I told her I'd help her when she was older, because I'm not my parents. My parents ignored the most important day of my life. Then they tried to steal the life I worked so hard to build. They expected me to stay quiet, obedient, useful. But walking away was the best decision I ever made. And standing up for myself, legally, emotionally, and financially, was the moment I finally became free. Sometimes family isn't about blood, it's about respect. And respect is something my parents never earned.